It always begins in silence. Not his silence, but yours. The silence of a man who feels something is wrong but cannot explain it. A stillness inside your chest. The weightless tension between who you are and who you are expected to be. Then he enters, and he doesn't see you as you are. He sees a story, a possibility, a promise. And for a moment, you feel chosen. You feel that warmth in his gaze, that spark of curiosity. You think it's intimacy, to be seen, but you're not seen. You're being chosen into a role she's been rehearsing since she was a girl. A male fantasy, the savior, mysterious, the hero. Carl Jung warned us about this. He didn't whisper it gently. He etched it into the fabric of depth psychology. He mapped the human psyche with surgical precision, and what he discovered was unnerving. The unconscious state of love is not connection, but projection. Two incomplete beings hurling their unmet needs at each other, hoping the other will catch and embrace their shadows. For women, he talked about the animus, the inner masculine figure in the female psyche. When it is undeveloped, it doesn't try to relate to real men. She tries to dominate them, to control, criticize, reform, and judge. So the man she meets is not a real person. He is a mirror in which she reflects her inner drama. At first, you don't know this. You think you are loved. You think you are different. You think that this is what integrity looks like. So you bend down, you give more, you try harder, you adjust your tone, you soften your spine, you make yourself small enough to fit in the frame. And every time you shrink, he smiles. Not because he's cruel, but because he believes the scenario is working. The fantasy comes alive. But what neither of you realizes is that with every compromise, a crack forms. A split in your sense of self. You start to disappear, and he starts to lose respect. He can't explain it. She just feels it. The man who once fascinated her is now predictable. Safe. Known. She doesn't understand that she is not in love with you, but with the illusion she has created in your image. And you are confused, angry, maybe even offended. You wonder what you did wrong, why he moved away from you, why the warmth turned to coldness. But the truth is, you never had a chance. You weren't loved, you were chosen. And when the performance fell, the audience left. Jung said that the unconscious will live on as fate. And for most men, this cycle repeats forever, because we are not taught to see it. We were taught to equate love with sacrifice, presence with performance, our worth and how much we are needed. And so we became shapeshifters, emotional acrobats. We betray ourselves for the illusion of belonging, and we call it love. But Jung had another word for it: possession. A man possessed by the need to be chosen is a man cut off from his soul. And the feminine knows this. She may not express it openly, but she feels it. She feels when a man has his feet on the ground and when he is grasping. She feels when he stands in the center or when he kneels in fear. And the paradox is cruel. The more you try to be what he wants, the more invisible you become. Because what she really desires, even if she doesn't know it, is the man who needs nothing from her. The man who is whole in his own right, the man who doesn't pretend. This is the path Jung called individuation, the process of becoming real, the process of uncovering the false selves that you have accumulated like masks throughout your life. It is not romantic, it is brutal, it is lonely, it requires solitude, silence, suffering, but something honest comes out of that abyss. You, the man beneath the conditioning, the voice beneath the noise, the truth beneath the personality. And therein lies the problem. Most men will never walk this path because they are more afraid of loneliness than of submission. They are more afraid of rejection, of being repressed. They would rather play the role of the beloved than stand alone as themselves. They would rather be accepted than be authentic. And so they wander from woman to woman in search of salvation. They look for the mother they never had, the approval they never won. And each time, they surrender their identity for a taste of love. But a man who has not faced his own femininity, his own anima, will forever be her slave. He will become the plaything of her unconscious, a puppet in the drama of her unintegrated masculine. And when he gets tired of the story, he won't even know why he left, only that something important is missing, something sacred, something real. You think you've been abandoned, but you were never really held. You think you were betrayed, but it was the fantasy that failed, not you. The act unraveled, the mask cracked. The fantasy is dead. And now you look at the wreckage and think it's you, but this is your opportunity, your invitation. The moment the theater burns down is the moment you stop acting, you stop pleasing, you stop performing. And in that silence, something ancient takes action. The wild man, the mystic, the warrior, the one who knows who he is without being told. It's not about blaming women. Jung would never allow that. This is about taking responsibility for the role you played in your own destruction. You presented yourself as a canvas. You allowed yourself to be painted. You smiled and thanked when you were given a mask. And now the only way out is into the shadow, into the wound, inside the parts of you that you deny. Because here is the great irony. The man who no longer needs to be loved is the most capable of loving. The man who faces his emptiness is the fullest man. The man who can walk away is the most worthy to stay. And when he meets that man, not the fantasy, not the actor, but the one rooted in reality, he will either stand up to meet him or run away from the fire he carries. Either way, you are no longer a prisoner. You are no longer a mirror. You are no longer a reflection. You are a man now, and finally, you are free. When you look into his eyes, you see a light. You can't quite name what that light is, but you are drawn to it. You think that he needs you, that he has chosen you, that perhaps he really sees you. But that light is neither love, nor understanding, nor awareness. It is the projection itself. The woman's unconscious has projected a movie on you, and you are proud to be the leading actor in it. But you are not a character. And when you realize this in time, there is no more room for you in that movie. According to Jung, unless a woman develops her inner animus, the masculine psychic archetype, she projects it onto the outside world. This projection is mostly on men. So it turns you into a savior, a teacher, an ideal. But you are none of these things. You are just a human being, a flawed human being, thinking, making mistakes. And that's when the collapse begins. Because you betray his unconscious male figure, your only crime is that you are real. Why do men fall into this cycle? Because they are taught from childhood that a woman's approval is a sacred reward. Her choosing you proves that you are worthy, and if she leaves you, it means you are inadequate. The man lives with this internalized belief. So, in order to become the imaginary man inside the woman, he forgets himself. He loses his boundaries. He cannot say no. He cannot object. He cannot exist. He just tries to be enough. But even when he is enough, this sufficiency feels like an endless emptiness, because he thought he could be loved by losing himself. And women? They are victims too, but of a different kind. Society whispers to women that they are complete before they reach an inner wholeness, that her feelings are always right, that her intuition is unquestionable. But Jung disagrees with this. According to him, a woman whose animus has not matured can become unjust, critical, and oppressive while projecting the male energy inside herself. Her sense of rightness often stems from the fact that she creates an external war by avoiding an internal one. A woman's war with her inner man is fought with men in the outside world. So, when you argue with her, you're not really fighting with her, but with a shadowy archetype inside her. She doesn't know this. She's not even aware of it, but every day you succumb a little more to this spiritual war that you cannot understand. And in the end, only one feeling remains: exhaustion. Jung says that getting out of this cycle is not easy, it is even painful. According to him, a man must first die before he dies if he wants to reach the process of individuation, that is, his own essential self. What does this mean? It is the death of his own ego, his own projections, his own masks. It means giving up waiting for a woman to understand you, the desire for approval, the complex of being a savior. And this giving up is like a death. Because when you define your identity in her eyes, losing her is like losing yourself, but that is illusion. Your true self is too deep to fit into the role she gives you. A man who walks this path is not afraid of loneliness. His friend has become his own inner voice. He does not seek approval because he has found his own inner truth. He is not mesmerized by the admiration of a woman because he carries within himself what is admirable. This man is not a real threat, but a real frontier. And when a woman encounters such a man, she either has to transform the animus within her or run away. Because she feels that she cannot change him, cannot shape him, cannot put him in a role. At this point, the woman has to make a choice, either to wake up from the projection or to find a new actor. According to Jung, only by making her animus conscious can she break free from this endless cycle of expectation and disappointment. But this is not easy, because the animus makes her feel intrinsically right. Each of the men she criticizes is actually an attempt to escape from her own shadow. This is why Jung repeats the same saying for both men and women. He who wants to heal must first fight with himself. And now, let's stop here and ask, how many people are really ready to fight this battle? How many men are willing to let go of the desire to be loved and meet their own self? How many women are willing to wake up from the illusion of feeling perfect and accept the battle within themselves? Jung's most painful truth was this: people will do anything to avoid facing their souls. Maybe you too have spent your life managing what others think of you. You bend to be loved, you change shape to be accepted. But nowhere did you find yourself, because you were not already there. And at that point, when the masks fall apart, when the roles are silenced, when the lights of the stage go out, only you remain. No one applauds you anymore. No one will congratulate you for how well you played. Because the stage ends, the curtain closes, and the roles forget themselves. Only you remain, the real you. And that's when the real question comes: who were you? Most men turn their lives into a performance to avoid this question. They try to be charismatic, to appear powerful, to be desired by women, to be approved by other men. But deep down inside he knows it's a show, it's a false self. Jung calls this a kind of collective madness. Because as a man becomes alienated from himself, he begins to think that his reflection in the eyes of others is real. And he clings to this reflection because he does not dare to see inside himself. That's why authenticity is a threat. It takes courage to be real. Because reality burns all the illusions that protect you, and most people cannot withstand this fire. But when you are willing to be burned, something different begins. You no longer have a role, you have a root. You are no longer an image, you are a being. At this point, people feel uncomfortable because they cannot categorize you, they cannot solve you, they cannot dominate you. Women cannot find room in you for the sweet lies they are used to. You are no longer the romantic hero they dream of. You are a reality that refuses to play a role on their emotional stage. And that's why they accuse you of being callous, detached, too analytical. But you know, these accusations are the sound of the control they have lost. You no longer carry their projections, because once you are in your own shadow, you refuse to live in someone else's shadow. As Jung said, a man who does not face the shadow lives his destiny in someone else. And you no longer carry this destiny. This becomes your freedom, but it is also your loneliness. This loneliness is not ordinary loneliness. It is an inner, holy solitude, a kind of spiritual retreat. You no longer need a woman to complete you, because you are not incomplete. You don't elevate her because you don't degrade yourself. You don't worship her love because you don't betray yourself. This new stance makes you unattainable. But this unattainability is not an arrogance, it is a purity. It is a simplicity. It is a posture of being that cannot be taken away from you, added to you, cut off from you. You no longer accept any role that does not belong to you. And the woman feels it, not consciously, but spiritually. And some run away from you, because their own dishonesty resonates with you. Some try to belittle you, because when they cannot control you, they want to discredit you. But some, rare and profound ones, find their essence in you. And these are the women who no longer need a man, but choose to walk with a man. You are no longer a carrier. You don't carry their feelings, their dreams, their search for meaning on your shoulders. You become a mirror for them, and only those who dare to look in the mirror remain. As Jung said, one who knows himself does not drown in the illusions of others. In this process, you realize something else. You no longer experience love as a need, but as a sharing. You love the woman, yes, but that love does not define you. It does not complete you, because you are already complete. And this completeness offers the same thing to the woman: authenticity. She too finds the right to be herself in your presence. She doesn't need to be a goddess or a mother. She just becomes a woman. She becomes a human being, and this reality becomes the ground that changes everything between you. But this true love is rare, because most people still want to stay in the games. The roles are safe, masks feel warm, but you became a man on fire. You left the games, you burned the masks, and now you carry only the naked truth. That's why few will understand you, but those who understand will truly see you. Jung's most profound warning lies here. If you don't carry your own soul, someone else will surely carry it, and then you are just a burden. You create addiction, not love, not passion, but imprisonment. But if you dare to carry your soul, both you and your beloved will be free. But most men don't want to take that responsibility. Instead of carrying his soul, he leaves it on the shoulders of a woman. He ties its meaning to a relationship, its strength to external accolades. Then, when these external sources collapse, he falls apart. And he tries to cover this disintegration with labels like abandonment, betrayal, loving the wrong woman. But the real problem is that he has never had the courage to own his own essence. When you claim your own soul, you are no longer lost in a relationship. You no longer look for who you are in a woman's eyes. Her love doesn't validate you, it only echoes your already existing worth. And this echo does not chain you to each other. On the contrary, it liberates. She no longer has to complete you, and you don't have to save her. Since both carry their own inner wholeness, the union becomes a choice, not a need. Neither a stage is set where one glorifies the other, nor a battle begins where one finds the other lacking. There is no more war, there is no play. There is only the touching of two people in the midst of naked reality. A man who reaches this point no longer needs to be loved, but he becomes worthy of love. Because true love is not born of need, but of wholeness. And this wholeness gives the woman the same thing. It allows her to stop playing games. It inspires her to face her own shadow. And there, in that rare space where two conscious souls meet, love is redefined. This love is not attachment, it is to connect. This love is not belonging, it is walking together. This love is not about patching up each other's imperfections. It is respecting the completeness of another with your own completeness. But very few men reach this level. Because the path is not easy, it is full of pain. It hurts when the masks fall off one by one. It is not easy to face yourself, to see the emptiness you have suppressed for years, to face the fears you have been running from since childhood. But that difficulty transforms you. It turns you into a real man. What Carl Jung said all his life was this: he who does not integrate becomes a slave to his shadow. And when you turn your face to your shadow, you no longer allow it to guide you. You no longer need external validation, the illusion of love, the mold that society has given you. You recognize yourself. You carry yourself. This carrying power makes you stronger in the eyes of women. But for you, it is no longer about appearing powerful in their eyes. Your power is not an external show, but a state of peace that comes from within. And women who feel this peace don't try to change you. Because you are not a character to be changed, you are a reality to be recognized. When a woman gets to know you, she is ready to walk a path with you, not a game. And in this walk, neither you can save her nor she can save you. You don't have to carry each other. You just walk side by side. And this walking side by side destroys old patterns, old love stories, old cycles of addiction. You no longer say to a woman, "Complete me." You don't say, "Live for me." You don't repeat the lie, "I am for you." Because you know, no one can make sense of anyone else's life. Everyone must carry his own soul. And only two complete souls can create wholeness. Everything else becomes addiction, it becomes acting, it becomes destruction. That's why if love remains at the end of this path, that love is pure. A love that is free from desire, free from fear, free from need, and that love makes all other experiences meaningless. Because for the first time you really understand what it means to love. Because for the first time you start being with someone, not for someone, and this true love is neither dependent nor afraid of loss. Because that love is strong enough to withstand loss. It is conscious enough to dare to go. It is free enough to decide to stay. But the only thing that will bring you to this point is to face yourself, to look in that mirror and start loving what you see in that mirror. It will be hard at first. What you face will scare you at first. But fear is the first step to growth. And when you move beyond fear, you find out who you are. That's when women will no longer be your God. They are no longer your mirror. They are no longer your savior, your mother, your projection wall. They just become human beings. Just a woman, and you become just a man. No hero, no victim, just you. Carl Jung says that man's greatest journey is not in the outer world, but in his inner world. And every step you take on that inner journey makes you a little more authentic. And authenticity is the rarest and most powerful state in this world. Because a genuine person cannot be changed, he cannot be bought, he cannot be fooled, he simply exists. And that presence silently transforms the world. If you have come this far, if these words have awakened something in you, know that there is no going back. Those false roles, those superficial relationships, those approval-seeking will no longer satisfy you. Because now you have seen the truth. And the truth, once seen, cannot be ignored again. So, now the decision is yours. Do you have the courage to walk this inner path? Are you ready to descend into your own shadow, to carry your own soul, to live your own truth? Because if you are ready, know that you will not be alone. There are few but real men walking this path, and they are waiting for you. They are waiting for you to join them as an unmasked, genuine man, a man who carries his own soul. And maybe one day you will hold up this mirror to another man, whisper this truth. Because once the truth touches you, there is no other way but to spread it.